less gas in your car. You can carpool to work a couple of days a week, use public transportation like buses or trains, combine errands to make fewer trips, and take a walk for any distances of a mile or less. And think about an electric car when looking for your next vehicle. When we each share our one thing, it becomes 100 things, 1,000 things, 1,000,000 things for our planet. What's your one thing?
You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMC FM at HD1 San Francisco. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
Good morning, area.
It's time to wake up. It's 5, and we're live.
Oh, is this thing on? I don't care. I want him to hear.
This is the Pregame Show, your early morning shot of sports on 95.7 The Game.
Come on!
Oh, yeah. It's a hump day, baby. Here in the Bay. Can you feel that? Can you feel it? It's playoff football in the air. It's the Golden State Warriors at a crossroads. It's the NFL offseason for some teams heating up. Mike Vrabel gone. Ron Rivera gone. Brandon Staley already gone. Josh McDaniels gone. Bill Belichick, will he be gone? Arthur Smith is. So much damn content, not enough time. Is Belichick going to be going? Is Jim Harbaugh going to stay at Michigan? Is he going to go to the NFL? We'll continue to monitor that. Draymond Green spoke to the media yesterday. We're going to play some of that for you today. We had Steve Kerr on Willard and Dibbs. He responded to a lot of what Draymond Green had to say. Very fascinating conversation with Willard and Dibbs that you can find on Twitch and YouTube, which we are streaming on right now. So search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe there. Powered by First NorCal Credit Union. Also be sure to like and subscribe every single video you see, because why not? Why wouldn't you do that? If you like it, then like it. Simple as that. Also, Twitch and YouTube. Not Twitch and YouTube. Comcast Business Text Line is open. 888-957-9570. Lost my train of thought there as I'm looking up at my television and the Lakers eke it out over the Raptors. Lakers now 2 in a row, improved to 19-19. I bring that up to say the Western Conference standings are as such as the Warriors take on the New Orleans Pelicans tonight at Chase Center, 5:30 tip. Yes, it's not the playoffs, it's the regular season, weeknight game starting at 5:30 on the West Coast. Doesn't happen often. In fact, it's been 16 years since that last happened for the Golden State Warriors. So, Warriors-Pelicans tonight, 5:30. Warriors live starting at 4:30 right here on 95.7 The Game, getting you up and ready for tip-off where the great Tim Roy, voice of the Golden State Warriors right here on 95.7 The Game, will be on the call. And obviously, we'll take your calls and texts after with the Warriors wrap-up. So, the standings are as follows. Timberwolves 1, Thunder 2, Nuggets 3, Clippers 4, Kings 5, Pelicans 6, Mavericks 7, Rockets 8, Suns 9, Lakers 10, with that last spot for the play-in. Then you got the Jazz and Warriors both tied, and the Jazz are slightly ahead. Warriors are now the 12th seed, folks. Now, they're not going to get lower than that unless things go horribly wrong, because then you got the Grizzlies, John Morant's out, Blazers, and the Spurs. Are the Jazz going to hang around? Are the Rockets going to hang around? Those are the two teams I think people have lots of question marks on. But the fact that you're flirting with the playoff, or I should say a play-in spot, it's concerning. It's even more concerning that if you're 6 games over 500 right now, you're still in the play-in. That's the Dallas Mavericks. They're 22-16. This is 7th spot. The team right in front of them, the Pelicans, 22-15. Who you're going to be facing tonight. Again, arrive early. Leave early if you're going to the game. So this is make or break time. I don't want to hear about playoffs right now. Can we just get to the play-ins if we're the Warriors? So we're going to get into that. 888-957-9570. But I mentioned it earlier. Draymond Green. He is the topic du jour of the NBA right now and in sports. It's Draymond Green, Jim Harbaugh, Bill Belichick. Is Brock Purdy still a thing? I mean, I haven't seen Brock play in weeks. 49ers are chilling this weekend. We'll touch on what Brian Baldinger had to say yesterday on the Morning Roast. You can find that entire interview again on Twitch, YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game, like and subscribe. Baldy thinks that there is one team in the NFC playoff picture that the 49ers, should not sleep on. So we'll get into that. But Draymond Green spoke to the media yesterday. We're going to play some of the sound. We'll react to it. Obviously, Steve Kerr, who joined Willard and Dibbs yesterday, he had some thoughts. We're going to play some of that. But let's start with Draymond saying he needed a break from basketball.
I took some time away from everything. Like, I don't think I touched the ball for the first 10 days because it was the least important thing to me. I needed a break just from everything. And one of the best things in the world for me was not waking up the next day like, all right, I got to go get this workout in. I got to go get a lift in. I got to go do this. It was wonderful waking up. Like, nope, I have an 8-month-old. I have a 3-year-old, 7-year-old, a 9-year-old. It was wonderful waking up to them and being home when they wake up and indulging in that process. Then it felt good to get back in the gym after I've sat with some of my thoughts, after. And I think in going back after 10 days, it was refreshing to go get a workout in. It wasn't, but it didn't feel like a routine. It didn't feel like I was jumping right back into the revolving door, if you will, and just start back spinning. I was like, nope, I'm going to go here today and I'm going to get some shots up. I'm going to go here and I just really want to get my body moving and get a sweat. It wasn't some routine or with some goal of getting back to the court. It was simply just, nope, this is what I feel like I should go do today, or this is what I want to go do today. That was therapeutic in itself. You never realize how stressful this job is until you no longer have that stress. And then it's like, whoa.
So Draymond there, again, speaking to the media yesterday, talking about, needing a break. We all need a break. Listen, that's what the All-Star break's usually for. So if you're the Warriors and Warriors fans, you're like, yeah, could you have waited till the actual break that's in the season? But it is what it is. I know he kind of says it right there. He's like, I needed a break. I was like, well, you didn't choose this break. But I think I appreciate him realizing, like, I need to embrace this at this point because the league is telling me that I need some time away. So why don't I get my mind right, get my body right, relax a little bit, break away from the monotony of everything, and, take a step back, which I think is a good lesson for all of us, not just athletes. Some people don't have that luxury, and I understand that. Working 2 jobs, working nights, working weekends, I get it. It's a grind. It's tough. I'm talking to a lot of you people here at 5 a.m. that, are still working, who've been working all night. And I appreciate you and joining the conversation, 888-957-9570. So I get it. I do. Now he's got to get back into that routine. Now he's going to ramp back up. And what's it going to look like on the court for the Golden State Warriors? Because the on-the-court product lately has not been good. They're 5-5 in their last 10. This is a below-average team right now at 17-19. The trade deadline is approaching sooner rather than later. What's going to happen? Mike Dunleavy, general manager. What is he going to do? All eyes on Wiggins, Kuminga, Chris Paul, although he's injured. They're going to reevaluate him in 3 weeks with a broken wrist. So lots of question marks surrounding this franchise and this team. And there's a microscope on Stephen Curry. He's been struggling. I mean, anytime he doesn't make a 3-pointer in a single game, That's cause for pause. But to do it twice in a season, that's unheard of. Not for that guy, not for the golden boy, not for the greatest shooter in the history of basketball. He just doesn't do that. And he's done it twice this year. He's had a lot of stinkers. A lot for him is, just a handful. That doesn't happen. Although, it happens when you get older. And you feel the wear and tear and the weight of an organization. And you've been carrying it on your back now, ever since Kevin Durant departed, and prior to Kevin Durant as well. You have carried the weight, the mental weight, the physical weight, everything. And you're starting to see it a little bit. I'm not saying Steph's done. I'm not saying he's not still a top 5, top 10 player in this league. I'm not saying that. I'm saying never have I seen Stephen Curry, after a game, sit with that blank stare more than I have this year. Just the towel on the head, 1,000-yard stare, looking up like, how do we fix this team? I mean, we've seen it after every single game. There's memes constantly. If you're not on social, you're watching the highlights on SportsCenter. You're listening to Evan Giddings on Warriors Wrap-Up, or Mark Grandy doing a hell of a job. Again, Warriors Live starting at 4:30 today. Early tip. 5:30, Chase Center. Pelicans, Warriors. Zion. Was he eating good in the Mission last night? Whew. Best believe it. Those California burritos will get you, brother. I got to tell you. Did they play last night? Let me confirm this before I say anything. No, they didn't. We're good. Oh, he's had a couple days off since Sunday. Okay. Oh yeah, they're probably chilling on the West Coast because they played Sacramento. He's been big chilling in the Bay. Not that I'm not here to slander Bay Area food. We got everything here in the Bay. That's the nice part. But New Orleans, special kind of Southern cooking right there. So Zion's doing just fine. Zion, interestingly enough, for Warriors fans, has been linked, to the Dubs. Like, can we go get Zion? Can we somehow snatch this guy? What's it going to take? I'll tell you this. It's going to take a whole hell of a lot more than Jonathan Kuminga, Moses Moody, and Andrew Wiggins. That's not getting it done. Toss in a Draymond Green, maybe we'll talk. And some first rounders. Like that guy is still receiving a massive haul because of the projection. And when he's out on the floor, he's been a stud. Him and Ingram, again, they're the 6th right now in the West. You can't sleep on the Pelicans. Absolutely not. And they just destroyed Sacramento. And by the way, the Kings, they were struggling against Detroit yesterday. They're down like 27 in the first quarter or something ridiculous. But as Detroit does, they blew that. 131-110 it ends up being. Poor, well, Kings fans do, but poor Detroit Pistons fans. My God. Just an embarrassment. Hey, they're not worried about that, though. Michigan just won the Natty, all right? Lions, they're hosting Matt Stafford, so times are good in Detroit, just not the Pistons. So leave the bags on the head at those games, but proudly take it off when you're walking else, all right? And I know the Tigers stink. Red Wings, it's all good. More from Draymond Green. Yesterday, speaking to the media, asked if he learned techniques in therapy, which he has been taking. If he learned techniques in therapy, that'll help him. Take a listen.
First off, understanding your emotions, understanding those moments. My goal is not to come back and worry about crossing the line, because I still have to come back and play the game the way I know how to play the game and be the best me that I can be for my team to help give my team a chance to win. I think, as far as not crossing the line with a referee, yes, that's a big point of emphasis for me, and knowing and understanding where that line is. But I didn't make it to this point worried about touching the line. I didn't help this team and this organization become what we've become by worried about crossing the line. And so throughout my time away, you kind of go through work through all these thoughts, right? And, if you would have talked to me 2.5 weeks ago, I'm like, I'm not crossing the line. I'm not doing this. I'm not doing that. But as you continue to do work and put the work in, and as time go by, for me, it's about developing a practice, developing a routine. And I think one of the best things about that is it hasn't been just on me to develop that. I've had support from this organization, support from the league in developing what those things look like. That's what I plan to do. I'm not going to sit here and tell you yes, I know everything, because you don't know what you do until you're in a moment. But I think going into anything, you can only best prepare yourself for what moments you may face. And then you'll be put to the test. My goal isn't to try to say, oh man, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, and this is how it's going to look. You don't know that until I'll be sitting here lying to you if I said this is how it's going to look and this is the process. That's not real. But what is real is preparing yourself and doing a lot of self-work so that when you are in these moments, you know where you can turn to. It's just like anything else. If I catch the ball on the wing, in that moment, I've prepared myself to shoot that ball, right? It's no different. You do the work, and then when those moments present themselves, you lean on your preparation.
Again, this is Draymond Green speaking to the media yesterday, and this all sounds all well and good, and I appreciate him being open about his, what he has learned through therapy, the mental health aspect of it. I can appreciate all that and also say you got to show me. And good morning to EJ Gomez, Oprah, Julian, CO, all of you on the YouTube chat. Search 95.7 The Game, like, subscribe now, join in the conversation. Draymond Green, what are you looking for when he returns to the floor? Are you looking for a completely changed person? Are you expecting the same old Draymond? Is anything going to change? Also, the on the floor, just X's and O's aspect. They desperately need his defense, I'll tell you that. They've been breaking down left and right. Dribble drive penetration is destroying this team. So Draymond will definitely help on that front, as well as playmaking. Steph needs him. Just look up the numbers. When Steph and Draymond play together, it's peanut butter and jelly. When they don't, it's just peanut butter on white bread. It gets sticky. There's no milk either to help you there. Gets stuck a lot. Don't sleep on peanut butter and honey, by the way. I'd take that over PBJ. That might be a hot take, but peanut butter and honey and fuego. Don't put honey in your pizza, though. Just please. Just don't. God, when are we coming to as a society? Don't knock it till you try it, brother. No, I'm not putting hot honey on my pizza. Just give me a pepperoni pizza. I'll put some hot pepper flakes on there. All right? Hell, we might even splash some Tapatio on that bad boy. But honey? Miss me with that. Please. Offensive. Here's Draymond. More from Draymond Green. And you can find all of this on YouTube. Search 95.7 The Game. Like, subscribe. And shout out to all the producers cutting all this, because there's a lot of audio to get to. And we'll get to Steve Kerr as well, who was on Willard and Dibs yesterday, and some of his responses. But more from Draymond. Asked if he's concerned that he cost Stephen Curry part of his, prime.
I don't necessarily look at it as costing him some moments of his prime, because we're all in this together, right? One of us fell, we're all failing. It's a team sport. I think for me personally, I care more about the person. How am I affecting the person? I can care less about a prime, if I'm honest, because I don't see his prime coming to an end no time soon. But how are you affecting the person that care about you? I spoke about the Stephen A. incident on my podcast. Then that's something he got to live with, forcing him to carry more weight than he necessarily would have to carry. What effect does that have on him? Even more so from a basketball standpoint. It matters more to me how I affect the person.
Steph has always had Draymond's back. So as a person goes, I think Steph is okay, and he knows who Draymond is personally. I think what's frustrating Steph is what's frustrating all Warriors fans. They just need him out there to play. He can't be getting ejected. So I appreciate Draymond, saying, as far as basketball is us, whatever, but I just hurt him as a person. Just don't slap Yusuf Nurkic in the face. Don't punch your teammate. Don't just stop doing that. Please. We can't have you getting ejected. I need you, Draymond. That's what Steph's basically saying. And do I agree that he's affecting his prime or anything? I was like, no. Stephen Curry signed up for this. He signed, sealed, delivered. Stamp of approval, Stephen Curry. On Draymond Green returning, on Klay Thompson. We'll see if he returns. Like, those are his guys, and I believe he's willing to go down with them. For good or for bad. Stephen Curry has signed up for this. Do I expect him to move on if the Warriors continue to struggle? No, I do not. That is not him. He is not LeBron. He is not Kevin Durant. Hell, even Kobe threatened to leave. That is not Stephen Curry. But if you're a Warriors fan, or if you're a Curry fan, you definitely think about Draymond and what he has done to this season and last season and just taking all the air out of the building. They got booed the other night. I can't even remember the last time the Warriors got booed at home. That just doesn't happen. That's Stephen Curry. That's Klay Thompson. That's Steve Kerr. These are made men. Kevon Looney. Looney catching strays. The entire team getting booed. That's unbelievable. That should be a wake-up call for this team. And hopefully it is tonight. They take on the Pelicans. They've had some days off to rest, to rewind. That is not an easy team. Young, big, athletic. So this run needs to start now, last game of this homestand. Because then they got the Bulls. And again, I'm not scoffing at any team. They've got the Bulls, they got the Jazz, who are all of a sudden red hot. Got the Grizzlies in there. Grizzlies will still play hard even without John Morant. Jaren Jackson Jr., decent player. So that's all well and good about Draymond feeling, I don't want to hurt Steph's feelings, but Steph's a big boy and he just needs you on the court. Speaking of which, Draymond doesn't know when he's coming back.
No, not yet, but I'm pushing to make that as soon as possible. As soon as I get to go, I know our performance staff have put a plan together. As soon as I get to go, I'll be ready to go. But like that goal is also Coach Kerr. I said before, you don't just get to walk back in like when you aren't walking in. Like that goal is also Steph. That goal is the guys in the locker room. The league was one thing, but like it's so much bigger than that. I owe a lot to these guys, and so the goal is also on them. It's not just up to me. I don't necessarily view it that way. When I get to go from our performance staff, our coaching staff, our guys, like that's all a part of it. It's not just on me. And where's your conditioning level? Like, I think I'm in pretty good condition, but it's so much more than that. Like reintegrating yourself into the team. I didn't see these guys for the whole time, and that was very intentional. But like that's all a part of it.
It's ramping up. We all love that term, ramping up, whatever the hell that means. So we'll see. We'll see. I always predicted it was going to be the 9th when they return from their road trip. But we'll see. Again, they have Pelicans tonight, Bulls Friday, Bucks Saturday. It's going to be a primetime game. That's in Milwaukee. Of course, as we know, which is Algonquin for the good land. Thank you, Alice Cooper in Wayne's World. Grizzlies Monday, and then wrapping it up next Wednesday in Utah against the Jazz. Those are never easy. Weird things happen. Just look at last year, how they snatched defeat from the jaws of victory. Then next Friday, they return to face Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving, and the Dallas Mavericks. Very important road trip right now, to say the least. And from the 415 on the Comcast Biz text line, this made me chuckle. If we get $1 for every time we say the Warriors play against a young, big, athletic team, I swear to God. I know. But that's the reality, right? Just look at the standings. And Bonte and I were talking about this yesterday on the Morning Roast. That's all well and good about trying to fix the now and the next year and being more short-sighted and maximizing Stephen Curry. But if you're Joe Lacob and Mike Dunleavy, you have to start thinking about the future as well, because the future is bright damn near everywhere else in the Western Conference, and that should scare Warriors fans. Look at the top of the standings right now. Minnesota. Anthony Edwards. That guy is going to be a face of the league. It's not going to be Ja. It's going to be Anthony Edwards.
Minnesota!
Thank you. Thunder. I mean, I can count 10 of them. Shea. My guy, Chet Holmgren, who's definitely going to be the rookie of the year, by the way. I know what Wemby's doing is unbelievable too, but check out what Chet's doing. Oh my God. Well, don't have to ask Warriors fans. Don't foul. Don't let him shoot the three. Chet Holmgren against the Warriors. All-time killer already. Then you got the torture chamber. Josh Giddey. We won't talk about that. I don't even know what the hell's going on there. It's like I'm still playing. I guess we just swept that under the rug. Nuggets are the Nuggets. They're finding themselves. They're at 8-2 in their last 10. People are questioning Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. Please. And you just saw what they did to you. You go to sleep for, 10 minutes on defense, night. They're still that team. Aaron Gordon amongst others. The Clippers. They're older. They're a little bit of a asterisk here in the West, if I can say that. They're different than the rest. James Harden, older. Russell Westbrook, older. Kawhi Leonard, Paul George. It's an old team, but they're playing as good as anyone right now. But as always, when it comes to Los Angeles Clippers, will they stay healthy when it matters most? We'll see. We'll see. I wouldn't put my money on it because history has shown Kawhi's going to break down. Paul George will break down. Someone's going to break down, and they'll collapse in the first or second round of the playoffs. Always happens. Always. Book it. Then you got the Kings. They're finding their way after no expectations last year and shattering those. A lot of expectations this year. Struggled at times, but they're 22-14. They're young. They're going to try to make some moves at the deadline. They were sniffing around Siakam. Although, I saw reports that the package is going to be Harrison Barnes and some picks. That's not enough. No one wants that. But apparently RJ in Fairfield, one of our great callers in the Morning Roast, was like, yeah, we'll give you Davion and Kevin Huerter and, some other guys and a bag of chips. Give us Moody. No, I'm good. Warriors right now need a star is what they need. Not red velvet, not a 6-foot defensive guy who can't shoot. 888-957-9570. We're up against it. Take a quick break. Come on back. More of your calls, more of your texts. Shout out Twitch and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. More Draymond sound, more Steve Kerr sound. Warriors taking on the Pelicans tonight, right here on 95.7 The Game. Don't go anywhere, folks.
It's easy to think.
The game.
Welcome back. Pre-game show, Joe Spadoni. 95-7 the game. Anthony Slater, 8 o'clock, joining the morning roast. Not going to want to miss that. Our 95-7 the game Warriors insider. I'm sure he'll have a lot of thoughts on Draymond Green's presser yesterday. We'll hear from Steve Kerr, who spoke again with Willard and Dibbs last night. Some interesting thoughts. Perhaps the most interesting, and I'll play this for everyone, because this is the one I think sticks out the most to a lot of fans, and certainly did to me. Focusing on the antics on the court, and this is where it, really boils down to. When it comes to a moment in a game, and there's always a moment, every single game there will be a singular moment, and it's going to tempt Draymond to do one thing, and he's going to need to do the other, turn the other cheek, whatever. I don't know what it is. But every single game going forward, the opposing team will try to bait him. Don't get it twisted. They're not going to outright say it. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, we're going to try to bait Draymond. They're not going to say that. But they'll be, here's the emphasis. You do this. He might try to draw a foul, do all this, sell a foul, is what Draymond likes to say, right? So every other team in the league is going to have a microscope on Draymond Green, try to isolate him, and try to, Pat Bev or Lance Stevenson their way to earning a tech and potentially earning an ejection and getting the guy out of there. And it's up to Draymond to not fall for that now. Now, he said he's learning new techniques. I mean, it's been 3 weeks, and he even attested to this. I'm not a changed person, but if I can utilize these techniques that I learned in my everyday life, I may be better suited to deal with them going forward. But it's an everyday thing. And everyone has their daily struggles. There'll be ups, there'll be downs. It's a constant fight. But here's Draymond talking about being focused on changing the antics on court.
Let's face it, antics isn't something that got me here. And so when I look back on these situations, it's like, can you remove the antics? I'm very confident I can remove the antics. And I'm very confident if I do remove the antics, no one's worried about how I play the game of basketball. Nobody's worried about how I carry myself in the game of basketball, but it's the antics. So that's my focus. It's not on changing who I am completely. You don't change the spots on the leopard. It's just not going to happen. And I'm not going to try to set some unrealistic expectation of who's this person going to be? It's not real, and that's not sustainable. I've always said before, I know how to be me a lot better than I can be anyone else. But in saying that, can I accept the fact that my antics has been over the top? Of course. Can I remove those? Am I capable of removing those? Of course. I think without that, then I don't think there's much of an issue. But it's the antics that can go, and I've made a commitment to do things to make sure that those don't creep in.
We'll see. That's what it comes down to. When he's on the court and he's engaged, he is a hell of a basketball player still, one of the best defenders in the league. Not the best like he was, but still one of, I would say. The Warriors have desperately missed him, especially in the paint. Again, just don't want to trigger the, the 415 again, but young athletic teams that the Warriors are playing against feast in the paint. They need they need Draymond Green in there at least. God bless Kevon Looney. He's doing his best. Can the antics stop? I'm skeptical. But we'll see. Hey, just like we're giving our guy Farhan a clean slate with the Giants and Bob Melvin, hey, I'm willing to be optimistic. I'm going Brian and Palo Alto here. You know,
I'm optimistic, I'll say.
I'm optimistic, Draymond. We'll see. Because that's all any of us could do at this point. Gotta hope, for Draymond's sake, that he's truly going to change his behavior. And I wonder going forward if referees will be more inclined to swallow their whistle knowing if he does something wild, his career might be done. Do you think he gets more of a leash with the officials when it comes to aggressive fouling, or less of one now? Because conventional wisdom would say, oh, Spadoni, what are you talking about? He just got indefinitely suspended. They're going to have a microscope on this guy. If he even sneezes on someone, he's done. History has shown guys playing on one tech, they get a little bit more leeway going forward. And Draymond has no more leeway. If he gets, ejected from a game, thrown out, whatever, that lingers, that carries. He gets another 1-game suspension. I think he's already hit his quota, people. So I'm very interested to see how he gets refereed for the rest of the season. Very interested. Steve Kerr. He says the team is asking Draymond to leave the officials alone.
It's a big part of it, and we've talked about it. Can he walk that line? Can he still play with fire and energy, but leave the officials alone? That's the challenge. It's going to be a big challenge, but we're going to ask him to do that. We need that so that we can focus on the game. His teammates need that so that we can focus on all of the little details that are eluding us right now, that are keeping us from being a consistent team. So that's what we're asking him.
More from Kerr talking about Draymond's return timeline.
Well, we don't know for sure, but he won't play tomorrow, and then he'll go to Chicago with us on Thursday, and we've got a back-to-back in Chicago and Milwaukee. So he'll be on that road trip, and he'll be training every single day and getting as much work in as possible. And whenever Rick Celebrini says Draymond's ready to go, then he'll be ready to go, and we'll put him in.
That last cut brought to you by Willard and Dibbs. So search 95.7 The Game on YouTube, find that entire interview. And good morning to all my lovely people on YouTube. Chat's fired up this morning. Ernie Chavez, and congratulations, Ernie. The YouTuber of the year, the Doobie Awards for the Morning Roast. Congratulations, sir. Thought it was only fitting. Chris M., Cruz, Bandit. Isn't Bandit the dad in Bluey? There you go. That's when you know you're a father. You're watching Bluey all the time. Man, some of those episodes, I got to tell you, they get to you. They tug at the heartstrings. Bluey, it's seamless. And John's looking at me like, the hell are you talking about, Spadoni? I'm telling you, man. If you're a parent, hell, if you're a babysitter, whatever, you put on Bluey, if you're an aunt, uncle, that stuff, they deal with some real-life people on that show. And I'm not talking about, they talk about death. They talk about infertility. It's crazy. No, seriously. They do some deep stuff on Bluey that tugs at the heartstrings, man. It gets to you. And Bandit is the dad's name. So that's why I said that. Speaking of that, tugging at the heartstrings. And no, 510, we're not going to get Andrew Bogut. Going back to Australia. Is Andrew Bogut available? LOL, it's JD, the 510. Maybe available to talk to. Maybe we'll reach out to Andrew Bogut. He's not afraid to speak his mind, to say the least. We'll just say that about Andrew. Speaking of their mind, Joe Shasky and Bonta Hill is going to come on here in about, 20 minutes or so. They got Anthony Slater joining them at 8. But in the meantime, we got one more segment on the other side. More Steve Kerr, more Draymond, and more you on the pregame show. Joe Spadoni.
Denise has been playing jazz.
Oh, you got to do the big stretch. Always. You get to a certain point where you just have to like moan when you get up. The dad noises. It's a real thing. You don't even have to be a father. I think you just hit the age of 30, and then when you get up from a chair, you just gotta, yeah, you gotta do one of those. Good morning to all you lovely people. It's the pregame show, Joe Spadoni. 888-957-9570 is the number to call or text the Comcast Business text line. We've been talking a lot of Warriors. A lot of Draymond Green, and spoke to the media yesterday, and you had to listen to it. Talked about a lot about, learning techniques, trying to utilize them in his everyday life. It's not just, he's not a changed man after 3.5 weeks where he has the self-awareness to realize that. But I think I'm at, and I think a lot of Warriors fans are at, just, hey, enough talking, get on the floor, show me. Let's go. And he's ramping up, and we'll see when he does return. Steve Kerr mentioned it yesterday, speaking to the media, speaking with us, that he's coming to Chicago. He's not going to play today. Again, 5:30 start, Chase Center. Get there early. It is not 7 o'clock. It is 5:30 as Zion and co. and the New Orleans Pelicans come to town. They've had a lot of days off. They've been chilling. Warriors have a lot of time to think about that disaster getting booed off the court against Toronto. Toronto, by the way, the head coach. Oh, my God. I haven't even heard it yet. Maybe we'll get to it in the morning roast. I have ESPN, I have NBA TV in here, and they just keep showing him. I just see him just visibly, no audio, just infuriated at the officials. Officials under just heat left and right in the coming months. I mean, it's always right. That's, we always like to say like there hasn't been a big call in a while, but the Detroit Lions won. Who was it? Brad Evans? Was that his name? Brad NFL referee. Brad Allen? Brad Evans is a Yahoo guy, right? Isn't that fantasy football? Yeah. But Brad Allen. I guess his referee crew has been demoted. Downgraded, I think they say. Not demoted, that's a little harsher. Downgraded. I don't think they're doing a lot of, if any, playoff games. So he's on notice after that debacle in Detroit. And then you got Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I mean, you always have LeBron complaining about the referee. It just feels like it's at an all-time high. But again, this is always something that's happening. Referees against everyone else. And it's hard to talk about, too, on air. It's just because it just always turns into, what are we going to do about it? Nothing's going to be done about it. So what do you want? Remember when they tried to make pass interference challengeable for 1 year and it was just an absolute disaster because they would just never, like there'd be blatant PI and it was like, that's just not enough, so we're going to say no. Okay, then this is useless. So they scrapped that. I'm just done talking about the officials. That's it. That was my little rant. There you go. Oh, Brad Rogers also wasn't official. Okay, there's Brad Allen, Brad Rogers. I thought so. Someone corrected me on that. But Brad Allen, who I was thinking about, but Brad Rogers also won. Got it. Okay. Steve Kerr, talking yesterday with Willard and Dibbs, asked how realistic is it that Draymond can stop going at the officials? And that's what it's going to come down to. The officials, the hard fouls, all that stuff. And more so the officials. How realistic is it that Draymond can stop doing that, Steve?
I think it's realistic. I can't predict what's going to happen, but what we want and what Draymond wants is to be able to compete with the usual emotion and passion that makes him who he is without crossing the ime. And he's done it before. It's not like he goes nuts on the refs every single game. So I've been coaching him for 10 years, and almost every year things have gone exceedingly well. I mean, that's why we've won championships. That's why he's been on all-star teams and all defensive teams. So we know he can draw the line, and that's what we're hoping and expecting.
888-957-9570. Are you expecting Draymond Green to stop going at the officials? The more I keep listening to all this sound, The more I'm just more convinced. It's just... I feel like we're going to just look back months from now. Oh, yeah, Draymond was a changed person. And I know he's not saying that, but I feel like I'm not getting, I'm not falling for the banana in the tailpipe, as Guru likes to say. I'm not doing that. Yes, I said earlier, I'm allowing myself the possibility, and I'm trying to be optimistic that he's going to be okay going forward, but I'm not betting on it. Good morning, my family, and Adrian Gutierrez, Enrique Rivera. Shout out to Rivera family and Coco. I was thinking of, are you the Rivera family? Coco, great movie. We were talking about Bluey earlier. Coco, tremendous. Tremendous. More from Steve. I like that sit a little. It's not my best. Dibs does a better one. If we're talking about Donnie T. It's a lot of hand movements though too. If you're doing that impression, you got to do the hand movements. You got to do it's the best. Yes, yeah. Shane Gillis does the best one. I can't even touch that guy. Steve Kerr asked if Draymond can fix the Wiggins and Kuminga combo problem. Oh boy.
The reality is, where we've been the last 3 weeks without Draymond, our defense has really suffered. I think I mentioned it earlier, 27th in the league, something like that. So in theory, you want to get, your two most athletic wings on the floor together for defensive purposes. But we have, a lot of things with this team that we're always trying to accomplish. So while that combination may, on paper, look like it might do something, it might alter other combinations. It might not work as well in a different area. So we have the tape and we have analytics, and frankly, both of them have pointed us in the direction of not playing those two together. And it's simple as that. So it hasn't been very successful. We're trying to win games. We're trying to sort it all out. But we have to experiment, but we also have to be realistic about what we think is going to work.
Enrique on the YouTube chat. Who's guarding Zion tonight? Great question. I don't know. Why don't you throw Pajemski on him, see how he does? Steph. To your point, Enrique, that's what I would be targeting the entire night. Find the mismatch, which is damn near every player. They're going to put Kevon. They're going to TJD. But good luck, Wiggins. Good luck, Clay. Zion's just a physical freak. And I know we poke fun at the weight aspect and trying to keep the weight off and stuff like that. But he is a physical specimen, being that big and that explosive. It's tough for anyone, let alone a team that struggles against size and athleticism. So it's tough. It's tough. Oh, and thank you, Enrique. He thought my pronunciation of his name was great. Shout out Spanish class, 4th grade all the way through junior year of high school. It's required. I think it should be. Spanish specifically. I mean, that's the second most spoken language outside of English in the United States. Thank you, John. Zion questionable tonight. Questionable. So that would be a massive break if he does not play. Did he play against Sac? Did not. Ooh, quad contusion, which is a fancy way of saying he has a bruise on his thigh. But they're trying to, I understand. You want all precautions. This guy's had a lot of injuries. He's had 4 days off. I think he's going to go if he's had that much time off, but you never know. That'd be a massive break, though. And the Warriors could use one of those. Lord knows, man. Oh, my God. Hey, Steve, how can you alleviate this burden on Stephen Curry?
Well, it's not just, who. It's not just, Chris is out, so how do we alleviate it? It's team defense. You watch that game. I mean, they had 25 points in the first 6 minutes, and we had no focus. We were not alert, nor were we urgent. That's how we have to help Steph. Urgency and alertness, awareness of what's happening on the floor, everybody flying around. The effort has to be dramatically better, and I know that'll come.
888-957-9570. We got a little bit left here before handing it off to Bonte Hill and Joe Shasky, the Morning Roast. It's a tough question to answer, to Steve's point. I mean, how do you alleviate the burden on Steph? How about get another player that's equal to or slightly below his caliber, which I don't know if you can do. I mean, that's basically what it comes down to. I mean, we had that guy here in the Bay. His name was Kevin Durant, but he, wasn't feeling the love, and he had his own things he had to work on, and he left. But they need another player outside of Stephen Curry. That's obvious. I love what the young guys are doing. Clay, hit and miss, had a great game last game. Draymond's going to return. Chris Paul's out. Wiggins, although he's playing, it feels like he's a DNP half the time. So outside of everyone just stepping their game up to a, elite level, I'm not sure how they can alleviate the burden on Steph. I'm just not sure. What I am sure is Anthony Slater, 8 o'clock in the morning roast. Next on 95.7 The Game.
You're listening to 95.7 The Game. KG.